most of them actually have happy endings. And they all come back to life. Hello everyone! So I thought I would do today a video about fictional deaths that I will never get over. And I think it goes without saying that this video is going to contain major spoiler alerts. So if you don't want to know some fictional deaths, I'm going to be talking about things like the Harry Potter series, the Final Fantasy series, the Walking Dead TV show and game, and Disney movies. So if you don't want to be spoiled on any of those deaths, then stop watching this video. But here are the fictional deaths that I will never get over. Okay, so the first death that I will never get over is Aerith or Aerith Gainsborough from the Final Fantasy series. Now, the reason that this is one of those fictional deaths that I'll never get over, it's not a case of it being a sad thing, it's more a case of it being a frustrating thing. No matter what you do, no matter how good you are at the game, or no matter how bad you are at the game, nothing you do is going to affect that death. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And it happens so suddenly, and then this guy just comes plunging down from the sky and just plunges a sword straight through her, and she dies. Okay, so the next two deaths I'm going to talk about are from the Walking Dead TV show. So first of all, if you haven't seen it, stop watching this video and go and watch the Walking Dead TV series, because it is amazing. Now, on a show, The Walking Dead, it's about zombies killing people, so as you can imagine, there have been quite a few deaths on that show. But there are two that are absolutely, oh my god, I wish they didn't happen. The first one is Laurie, and basically she gets pregnant in the very first season. She finds out in like the second episode that she knows that she's going to have to give birth to this baby in this world, and she knows that it might not go right, and she might have to have a cesarean performed on her, or she goes into labour basically, and she knows that she's going to have to deliver the baby by a C-section. Laurie bleeds to death. But the thing that's the most shocking about it is that we know that in this show she's going to turn, and nobody wants that, so she has to get shot in the head. And her son, her 10-year-old son, is the one to do it. He's the one who volunteers to do it, and that's what's so sad about that death. The next one from The Walking Dead, I hate this one so much, is Herschel. Now, at the beginning, I watched the gameplay of the Walking Dead games before I watched the TV show, and there's a Herschel character in that, but he looks a lot different and he acts a lot different. He's a jerk basically in the Walking Dead games, and in the TV show he kind of starts off like that, but he does go with the group, and he turns out to be, like, his journey throughout the show, he turns out to be one of the most loyal members to the group, whereas when they first met him, he didn't even tell them that he was keeping his family, who had turned into zombies, in a barn, because he didn't trust these people. Major spoiler alert here, definitely, if you don't want to know. The governor captures Michonne and Herschel, and he has them on their knees outside the prison, and the governor has Michonne's like samurai sword against Herschel's neck. And I knew it was coming. I was praying with all my being that what I thought or what I knew was going to happen was not going to happen. But it did. And it was horrible, because he didn't cut his head clean off. He just kind of wedged it in there, which made it more painful for him, and and his daughters had to see it. I swear, in that moment, I know he's only a character. I'm an actress. I know he was only playing a character, but I swear I wanted to hop on a plane to America and find that prison and kill the governor, because that was the most evil thing you could ever do to a person. The next death is, oh wow, this is a really cheerful video. The next death I'm going to talk about. The next death I'm going to talk about is also from The Walking Dead, but it is from The Walking Dead games. It is, if you've seen it, if you've played it, you may guess by now. Again, many deaths, but there's only one death in there that's like the worst, and that is the main character, Lee Everett. And the reason that this death is so bad is because you are playing as this character and you see everything from his perspective. That's a horrible death. And also it's one where it's like you can't prevent it from happening. Throughout the game you die many times as Lee, but because it's the game you come back from a saved point. But again, this is one of those things where it's in a cutscene. You can't do anything to change that. You can't not go over to that pile of rubbish and pick it up and have the zombie underneath it. You can't not. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. And the fact that you can't stop that, the fact that you can't finish that game still as Lee, is horrible. Obviously, there are plenty of deaths in the Disney franchise. Even though he didn't really die. Flynn Rider, horrible. The Beast, even though he didn't die, it was still sad. Most of them actually have happy endings, and they all come back to life. But one that didn't come back to life, which was absolutely horrible and probably traumatised me as a kid, because I was only like 4 when I watched this film, Mufasa from The Lion King. Now this is such a horrible death, because again, it's one of those ones that happens, and even though it's a Disney movie, there's no happy ending for him. There's no magical spell to break a curse, or no magical tears from a golden flower that's going to bring him back to life. He dies, and his little son, he has to watch as his father dies, and obviously he can't see it from that perspective, so he doesn't know that it's Scar who does it. But that would traumatise anyone. I'm pretty sure, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure it traumatised me as a kid. Long live the king. Okay, so the final death I'm going to talk about, and I'm sure you're all going to be glad that this morbid video of deaths is over, is the one out of any death, out of any film, book, game, whatever that I've seen, that it is the ultimate worst for me. But the one fictional death that I will never get over is Dobby the house elf. Dobby was such an annoying little brat in the second book. Every time he tried to help Harry, he was just a pest. He wasn't like a bad person, because we know that he ultimately was just trying to help Harry, but he was just a pest, because every time he tried to help Harry, Harry would just get into even more bother. And then obviously in the 7th book, he kind of turns it around. You know, in the second book he was doing all he could to save Harry, but he wasn't doing it in the right way. And unfortunately, in the last book, he finally learnt the right way to be able to save Harry Potter, but that meant sacrificing himself. But what makes it even more sad is that Dobby was okay with it. He was okay with dying, because it meant that he was sacrificing himself for Harry to live, for Harry to be rescued, and for him to go off and be the greater good and defeat Voldemort. And he's He's just adorable. He's just an adorable character. And that is what makes it so sad. That he's just Dobby. He's Dobby! He's Dobby! He's Dobby the house elf. So, those are my fictional deaths that I can't get over. So please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment and tell me what fictional deaths you can't get over. Are there some that I talked about that you agree with? Are there some others that you really feel that were just insanely horrible and shouldn't have happened? So I shall see you next time.